Taves again. This is timing is everything. Cyrano, the dentist podcast. Uh, yeah, how do I explain this? I wind up in screwy situations all the time, and I tend to crack jokes in order to uh, keep my sanity because there's a certain amount of lunacy to everything that happens for one reason or another. Even death can be funny sometimes. Listen to Mel Brooks' joke. If you get up in the morning, you're dead. It's a terrible exposure appetite. Or there's, Woody Allen. With death, your options decrease rapidly. Uh, So, as I can mine humor from that. Anyway, uh, I uh, I went to the dentist back at the beginning of the summer, and or I guess it was the beginning of the summer, like late June, early July. Anyway, I went there, and uh, the dentist said, well, you got four cavities that you have to have filled. So uh, we scheduled two different appointments for that because apparently there's some rule or another that they can't do more than two at a time or something like that. It's screwy, especially when you hear what happened and the end result of everything for me. So anyway, I'm going to be talking about that in a second as to what happened and the two stories about the dentist visit. But I just wanted to give a quick update on my dad. He's doing well. He's back to work now, thank heavens. Uh, and I'm not saying that like get the hell out of the house way, but I'm saying it in terms of like okay, he's good enough to go back to work. It's a good thing. So, no complaints here. Anyway, so he's off at work now, and so I'm recording the podcast. Uh, they did the surgery late September that he needed uh, because the pacemaker slash defibrillator shocked him a couple of times while he was working on electrical during cardio rehab. So anyway, he had the surgery done late September before his birthday, and then he turned 60 on his birthday, and he's in good spirits and we're cracking jokes and whatnot. We went to a nice little place called La Cantina uh, in Framingham, with an Italian uh, joint. Really nice. Yeah. Uh, uh, we had, let's see, what did I have? I had like stuffed noodles with like cheese stuffing kind of thing. I had cheese on top of that. Uh, and an order of garlic bread that had cheese on it. Anyway, I can highly recommend the garlic bread. So, uh, if you go there, get the garlic bread. It's delicious. That it's kind of all there is to say about that. I mean, it was a very low key birthday. It's not like my birthday where we're, talking about health issues and stuff at dinner. But so that's up to them, my dad. And that ties right back into the dentist because the dentist has been our family dentist for years, and he was friends with my dad before my dad knew my mom, and they would go into his office, lock the door, have drinks, and shoot the shit, make each other laugh out loud. Uh, not so much anymore. Now it's every time he goes in, there's some problem or another with teeth, or occasionally things are fine. Uh, anyway, so I know this guy. He's in Belmont. He has practice there. And I want to say this now so it doesn't get lost when I bring it up again during the story. There was one dental technician that I have, I wish I could remember her name, that did the first two cavities with uh, this guy. And then she was good. There was another one that I had that did the other few cavities with this guy, and she had red hands. And I'll explain that during the story, but you know, I never want her working on my mouth again, and you'll hear why. Um, so anyway, so the story goes that I set up the appointments during the summer, and the first available appointment was in September after my birthday. You know, towards the end of September, uh, after my dad's surgery and before his birthday. So anyway, we got me to the dentist. My mom drove me. We got to the dentist, and I had to wait around for like 15 minutes, not too bad. And then I got brought back, and okay, ha ha ha, how's it going? Oh, fine, etc. So there's that stuff, and so the dentist comes in and says, "Okay, I'm going to work on your mouth now." And I said, "Well, before you do anything, give me a topical, because I'm very sensitive to pain. I do not handle pain well at all." Um, and even a pinch from a needle feels like a razor blade across something unpleasant. Uh, and I don't mean in the way of shaving. I mean in the way of like cutting. It hurts. So anyway, he put the topical on there, and then he shot me up with the Novocaine in my gums and stuff on the left side of my mouth. He was working on the left side this time, and so he starts talking about various things that he's into, like his Hebrew name is Nathaniel, um, and so he's saying, my Hebrew name is his Hebrew name and stuff. It's like it's similar, but not quite. Because I'm Nathan, not Nathaniel, but apparently they would adapt me to Nathaniel, which is also my baptism name, and I don't even want to get into that. I had a teacher that would call me Nathaniel, and I just wouldn't respond to her until she started calling me by my regular name, Nathan, or Nate. Uh, so anyway, I digress. So yeah, dentists always talk to you when you're in the chair and ask you questions, and you got your mouth full of tools and what have you, so you can't always talk. Well, that's kind of what happened here. I was in the chair, and I had there's this thing now that they do where they put this like little rubber guard in your mouth, and it holds your mouth open, and so that you don't bite them while they're working. So they put one of those in the front of my mouth, since they're going to be working the back of my mouth. Makes perfect sense. Um, on the left side, mind you. So they put it on the right side. Anyway, so they put this thing in. They put the little suction thing that sucks up the water, blood, or whatever is going on in there. So they put that in there. They put the drill, and occasionally another injection of Novocaine as needed. I took 8 injections of Novocaine, I should mention, over the course of this. I'm very sensitive to pain, as I said before. And this guy had to put a cap or crown or whatever he called it on there. I forget now. But anyway, the cavities were in between teeth, so uh, you had to take off a good portion of the tooth to fill the cavity. Anyway, so he's doing this work, and at some point during this, he says, yeah, there's this story, and then I can't hear anything because I got the buzzing going on in the mouth with the drill, and then the little right thing that it firms up the filling and stuff. So they're doing that stuff, and I can't hear what he's saying, but I see his mouth moving, so that's always a good sign. Uh, so he says to me, right at that point, do you know which one I'm talking about? And not having heard him, I went, no, just shaking my head slightly. And he goes, oh, it's a classic book, Zero Mostel. Because he finally took the stuff out of my mouth. He goes, no, not Zero Mostel. It was made into a movie. Funny guy, white hair. This happens to me all the time. People, uh, once I know I'm a movie buff, they go, what movie am I thinking of? I'm not a mind reader. I just know movies. Give me a hint, or they'll say, well, what's the one with the story about such and such, and it'll be slightly off of what it actually is, but they'll say it's like, oh, when it has Gene Hackman or something, it's like, oh, French Connection or whatever. Occasionally I get those, and I get them right, but mostly not. Anyway, so funny thing, uh, yeah, he's going serious, can't think of it. Said Cyrano de Bergerac. He goes, yeah, that's it. And it was made into a movie starring a really funny guy, white hair. Said Steve Martin. He goes, yeah, that's him. Okay. The movie that you're thinking of is Roxanne. Yeah, Roxanne, that's it. Then he turns to the technician. Have you seen this or read it? No. Mm, how do you get through school without knowing this stuff? So she she gets a little like rant from him about you read that book you two need and get back to me next time uh, with a book report. Hmm. I did a book report on that when I was in 5th grade. It's when I started Willow Hill and Sudbury, Mass. Anyway, and before that, I had seen Cyrano de Bergerac on Wishbone, if anybody remembers that show back in the day. Great show. Why don't they release that on DVD in its entire collection and the movies? Uh, so anyway, this gets kind of funny. So I'm now left in the room with the technician because he, walks. The dentist walked out of the room, so I'm left in there with the dental tech. And as I said, this woman did a good job. I wasn't gagging on anything. I didn't feel uncomfortable for longer than was necessary with too many tools in my mouth or anything. So it was okay. Pleasant experience given the dental work. Uh, so anyway, I'm numbed up completely on one side. I'm talking to her, and she said, yeah, I guess I gotta go look up Cyrano de Bergerac. I said, well, just in passing. I gave her a breakdown of the story, and she goes, well, is it a fantasy? What is it? Like, more of a comedy drama kind of thing. Uh, so I said, it's kind of a comedy drama, and So she goes, okay, well, what's it about? The dental technician. And I said, well, the synopsis is pretty much this guy pines for a woman's affections, but when he finds out that his best friend's in love with her, and his best friend recruits him to help woo her, uh, he puts aside his feelings, being dutiful to his friend, and helps him out. And there's a hilarious scene where somebody's in the bushes, Cyrano, and he's feeding lines to the guy, talking to the woman on the balcony. And so he climbs up, kisses her the whole bit, and Cyrano's, shaking with rage down there. So they, you know, they fall in love. Something happens. I forget what. There's some kind of a war that breaks out. Uh, the guy gets the guy that Cyrano's friend gets killed, I think it was, and that leaves Cyrano talking to the woman, and they're talking about stuff, and Cyrano lets it slip that he has a thing for her, and she says, "Well, why didn't you say something?" He goes, "Well, he was my friend." So anyway, that was the basic story of it. And I'm working from a memory that's gone through so much other stuff over the course of time that I may have screwed up part of that story, but that's how I remember it anyway, and that was the Wishbone adaptation, I believe, if memory serves, that I'm remembering, because I didn't actually read the full work of it. I read an abbreviated version, and I saw the Wishbone special. So anyway, so I told her about it. I said, so if you see this dentist again, get him the book report. So she goes, okay, thanks. It's great. Right on. So that's Cyrano the dentist. Now that's the first part of this dental saga. That's the good news. The bad news is the second part of the saga. I went into the dentist in October, early October, like October 2nd, for 2013, for the other two cavities to be filled. And I had another technician, and this one I'm going to name so that you don't screw up the two when you're telling your friends about this story. This one's name is Christine or Christina, one of those two. I think it was Christine, if memory serves. So she she's not a bad person. She works in the office. I know her for a while. She's okay, but she's got lead hands. When I say she's got lead hands, this is true. I gotta stop myself here for a second. When I say lead hands, I don't mean in literal lead hands. I mean lead hands like somebody has a lead foot. It's heavy on the gas, so they drive fast or something like that. That's the kind of lead I mean. So there's that for clarification's sake. I'm going to jump right back to the first story for a second because I have a little PS. When I put online as a tease that I was going to be doing a podcast about it, somebody that I'm friends with commented on it and said, wouldn't you technically be having a somebody talking from the bushes about it with the dentist? Something to that effect. And I wrote back, in an ideal world, yes. So anyway, that's ha ha ha. You know, that's the that's the basic joke there, I guess, for all intents and purposes on that one. So that's Cyrano the dentist. Now back to this other story. I have the technician with red hands. The technician with red hands, Christine, whatever the hell her name was, uh, she pissed me off. There's no nice way to put it. She pissed me off. She took. Now, I have a small mouth, despite what people think. Um, or despite what I'll admit, for that matter. So anyway, uh, she took one of those hold the mouth open things and put it in my mouth. But she didn't just put it in my mouth, she jammed it in there, and she jammed it in the way back before I was numbed up, so I was choking on it. Not good. So I start gagging on it, so she pulls it out, and she goes, "What?" I said, "I'm choking on it." So she goes, "Okay," jams it back in there again. It's like, what the fuck, lady? I'm choking on this. So I start choking on it again. So she pulls it out again. And what, what is it? I'm choking on it. Okay, so she puts it on the other side of the mouth and jams it in there. And it's, again, choking on it. So finally, the dentist goes, "Get him a smaller one and put it in the front of his mouth." At least he knew what the hell was going on. So he puts it in my mouth, and I'm having a hard time with this because I've got her now jamming the little suction thing and the little water thing at the same time down my throat. Okay, it's supposed to be in the mouth, not the throat. It's not supposed to work on that little punching bag that's in the back of your throat. It's not supposed to be that far down. You know what I'm saying? So this, I'll use a Stooges phrase, imbecile, was putting it down that far down my throat, so I was gagging on it. So the dentist goes, "Okay, fine, we're gonna take the little rubber keep your mouth open thing out of there, and we'll just do this other stuff." So she kept putting it in there, and he's trying to drill at the same time. So I'm gagging, and he's drilling, and it's a bloody mess, literally. So he goes, "What is it?" I said, "I'm choking on her hands. Get her hands out of there." So now she finally realizes that she's got lead fucking hands. So she goes, and lightens up. Finally. I mean, out of an hour procedure, it's a good 20 minutes of that. So, Jesus. It burns me up when people don't know what they're doing and they keep doing their own thing. Kind of like the government. Anyway, that's another story, and not one that I want to get into. So, side reference for those who hear this at a future point, there's a government shutdown that happened, or partial government shutdown that happened fairly recently. This is like day 7 or 8 of it, I forget what. But anyway, it's a mess, and everybody's blaming the Republicans. And yeah, you can probably blame them a bit, but to be fair, Obama's also saying he's not negotiating. So I'd say just get rid of the whole lot at the next couple of elections. Anyway, that's the reference point for time and space. But anyway, so the dental technician finally finishes the procedure without choking me anymore, and now it's just a matter of keeping my mouth open for another 20 something minutes while they work, because it was 20 minutes for the Novocaine, and then it was 20 minutes of gagging, and then another 20 minutes of everything going okay. So finally everything's going okay, and the dentist starts telling me about this special that he saw her on. I think it was HBO or Cinemax, one of the two. It was about the Eagles, the music band, not the bird. And so he was telling me about that, and I'm hearing bits and pieces of it because again, you get that little drill and the little sucker thing going on, the little spray from uh, the water spigot thing, whatever you want to call it. Um, so anyway, long story short, finally get done with the damn thing. So you know, I like the first dental technician. The second one, not so much, as you can tell. Again, she's not a bad person. Just she's not good at not choking people. Is what I'm getting at. And again, I don't think she did it with malicious intent. If she worked under Jane Sanders, I might think differently, but she didn't. So anyway, the that's the dentist stories. Um, so I guess I should probably wrap this up now, for safety's sake. Uh, but I will just leave you with a few quick things. Coming up next for the next podcast, there will be probably another Time Means Everything podcast. I yet to figure out what that's going to be, but I'm sure it will be amusing because I got a story to tell about a house hunt that happened, and I need to get a little bit more details on that before I can talk about it. So, anyway, um, that's to be determined later. And there will definitely be a Halloween movie case podcast later this month, focusing on horror films, and I will be talking pretty good few minutes about the Vincent Price movies that have come to Blu-ray this year. This means Witchfinder General, aka the Conqueror Worm, the Haunted Palace. Um, there's Mask of the Red Death. There's House of Usher, aka Fall of the House of Usher. There's The Fly. Um, there's another one I'm blanking on at the moment because I don't have it in front of me. I do a lot better when I have notes in front of me, and today I'm just winging it. And House of Wax, 3D and 2D combo pack, and uh, the Monster Club. So that's or Mad Monster Club, I think. Anyway, no, it's the Monster Club. That's what it is. So anyway, those are what I'll be talking about in addition to some other horror films like the Nightmare on Elm Street series and how Psycho is technically considered a horror film, though it's more of a suspense film, and Silence of the Lambs, same thing, and that series versus something like the classic horror monsters, Dracula, Frankenstein, Mummy, the Wolfman, Bride of Frankenstein, The Invisible Man, Son of Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon, etc., etc., etc. So that that will be up later this month. I'm going to try to get my dad on that with me, but we'll see what happens. So anyway, long story short, you've heard about the dentist, you heard about what's coming up next. Please, listen in. I think you'll have fun with the Movie Case podcast. And I don't know if the podcast about looking at houses will be at all interesting, but it should be mildly amusing for some of the stuff. So anyway, with that, I'm Nate Taves. This has been another episode of Time Means Everything. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the Movie Case podcast or the Time Means Everything next episode, whichever comes first.